Hi guys, and welcome to Chats with Carissa, and it's me again, Carissa. So I would first of all like to thank everyone who watched my video last week. Hope you all enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun and I'm so excited that it finally uploaded. It took a while to upload, I think, because of all the editing and that I had to do. But it ended up really good. Now, some of you are probably wondering why I didn't post a video yesterday. I think I had, first of all, I was really tired yesterday, but second of all, I thought it's probably going to be a lot easier if I film my chat show every kind of second day. That way it kind of gives me, you know, a bit of a day or so to kind of figure out what I'm going to talk about and, you know, obviously develop a story that I'm going to talk about. So the story that I'm going to talk about today is university. So this evening, on this very lovely day here, even though it's raining, I will be talking about everything there is to know about university, because I have been here for 3 years. And when you've been here for 3 years, you kind of get to know everything there is to know about university. So, to begin with, I have been at university for 3 years. I'm in my final year. I'm so excited to finally nearly be finished because it feels like it's been such a very long time. So I've only really got 5 months left of my university degree, because at my university we do trimesters rather than semesters, so it's very different. It's interesting because my brother goes to university and he has semesters, so I feel like he has more time in the year when he's at university rather than myself, because at the end of my university trimester you have like 4 months off over Christmas, which is great, but it's kind of not great because you kind of feel like you're at a bit of a disadvantage, like you're not learning as much stuff as someone who goes to another university might. So that's another thing about university, is the various types of universities you're going to go to are going to be all completely different. Obviously I go to a small university, so everything's very different compared to universities within the city. So an example will be, you know, I am studying a Bachelor of Media and Communications, but a student who studies a Bachelor of Media and Communications in Sydney or in Melbourne or even anywhere else in the world is going to have more of an advantage, because they're going to be able to do units and subjects where they can actually go out and professionally be kind of doing work experience in the film and television industry, whereas I'm at a loss because, you know, my university doesn't allow that. But what I love is that, you know, I'm developing all the theory-based side to it, which is really great. My biggest worry, of course, is, as I said, you know, I have 5 months left, is what I'm going to do when I actually finish my degree. And it's a big problem so many people face. Like, I was talking to my friend the other day, who I'm potentially probably going to be moving into a house with when I finish, and we were just talking and I was like, it's scary to think that, you know, in 5 months time I will be finished my degree. I graduate next year, I have to find a job, something to do with, you know, the dream career that I want, and it's going to be scary because I then have to go out and find it. And, you know, I'm not the only one. You know, there's so many people out there who are going to have trouble finding a job and finding a job that corresponds with what they've studied. And it's a big scary thought, because when you're at university, you know, you kind of feel like you're slightly independent, because yes, you know, you are, you know, outside of your family home, you are, you know, somewhere different, in a different environment, in a different part of the country, but then you also need to realize, you know, you're still within, you know, a safe kind of environment. You know, you're still amongst friends, you're still, you know, in some sense close to family, whereas when you leave university and go get a real job and that, you kind of have to start being more independent. You have to start, you know, organising a way to get to your job. Even, you know, you might not drive, you have to find, you know, a place to live. You have to then, you know, try to survive off your money earnings, and then you've got to try and at least keep your job. So it's quite scary to think that that's going to happen in 5 months time, but hopefully all goes well and I can enter into my dream job straight away, because I know it takes a lot of people quite a long time before they actually enter into their job that they want to be. So I'm hoping that my university degree will be able to get me where I want to go. So as I've mentioned, I am studying a Bachelor of Media and Communications. And it's interesting to think, if you asked me 5 years ago, or maybe 6 or 7 years ago, if I was going to attend university, I probably would have said no. I remember when I was first in high school, I did not think of university whatsoever. It wasn't really until my final year of high school that I was like, oh, I should probably go to university. And a lot of people asked me why I wanted to do media and communications and why I wanted to go to university. So to tell anyone out there, university is a great thing to have. It's a great place to go because it allows you to expand your knowledge of the things that you love. So I love film and television and media and communications, and by coming to university I've been able to expand my knowledge of all that stuff. I did a unit digital and social media, and there was so much stuff about it. We learned about Alan Turing and drones and things like that, and it was fantastic because I didn't know a lot of information. I knew the very basic, but to come to university and learn all that in a classroom was great. It was a really great thing to experience. And it's a funny thing. I'll tell you a funny story actually. A whole time growing up, from about when I was little to about 8 years old, I was going to be a police officer. But then I got diabetes and I was told I couldn't be a police officer, so I changed it. So then, being your typical person, you go through that point in your life where you're like, I don't know what I want to be. So from probably year 7 to year 12, I was like, I'm going to be a fashion designer. No idea why, because I did not dress nice enough to be a fashion designer. Didn't dress nice enough to be someone who would be considered a fashion designer. I was kind of that person who walked around wearing tracksuit pants and a baggy shirt and probably the most ugliest looking jumper because I was comfortable. But it wasn't really until when I had to start thinking about university that I really then decided what I wanted to do, and I looked into various courses that I could do, and I decided to do a Bachelor of Media and Communications. I'd always had an interest in film. I've always loved film, and there was always that little part of me that always wanted to do acting, but it wasn't really predominant. And since being at university, it's really allowed me to love communications a lot more and love media a lot more, and really is one of the reasons why I want to enter into the industry, because I want to put all the knowledge that I now have of that into my degree. And it's really funny because I don't know why. I don't know where I was going with that. I kind of lost my train of thought there. We all do that. That's definitely another thing you're going to experience when you're a university student. You're going to go on a tandem of like amazing information, and then you're suddenly going to forget what it was you were talking about. Happens all the time. I was at my friend's house today, and I was just on like talking about some random thing, and then I suddenly stopped and talked about some person who I saw in the street doing something, and my friend was like, what's that got to relate with the story you're telling me? And I was like, I don't know. Random tangent I go on. So, but I'm trying to think of a few things in regards to university. There's so many different things. One thing is the difference between high school and university. It's a big difference, and a big thing that a lot of people need to understand is the difference between the two of them. So in high school is very mandatory. I know in a lot of countries, it's a mandatory thing to attend high school, to go from all the way from year 7 to year 12. Well, that's what it is in Australia. I don't know how it works in America, because you've got like middle school and secondary school and things like that. But to go from your very young primary school days to your high school days is what it is. so it's kind of mandatory, whereas in university it's more of a voluntary thing. You know, not everyone has to go to university. You only go to university if you really feel like you should go to university or want to go to university. The only thing different is how expensive it is. University is very expensive. We're lucky here in Australia. I don't know about England, but I know I've heard from a few exchange students from America that they have to pay like their university fees up front. I'm not quite sure if that's true or not. I think it might be. Whereas here in Australia, you know, we're kind of lucky. You know, we don't have to pay all ours up front. We kind of put it aside for the moment while we're at university, so we don't have to worry about it, but then we have to pay it off later, which it's good at that time, because it means, you know, you don't have to worry about constantly having to pay a lump sum of money. But then it's hard because, you know, if you're just starting out into the business or getting a job, it's a bit harder to pay your HEC debt, which sucks, but it has to be paid because obviously you've spent so much time at university. Another thing is when you're at high school, a lot of things are different. Your classes are structured very differently. So when you're in high school, you tend to have quite a large number of people in your classes, or you might have a small number of people. University, it varies, you know. It depends on the unit you do as well. So I know for nursing students, you have a very big classroom full of people. Same with anyone who's doing like criminology and law. Whereas someone who's doing my degree might only go into a classroom with 12 people in it, because all them 12 people are doing media and communications. But what's great is, you know, you might go into a classroom with a media and communications student who's in their 3rd year. So, you know, I've got a few 2nd year media and communications students who are currently in some of the units that I'm doing because of the way it's structured in university. And that's a very different thing in high school. In high school, you know, you have the option of doing, you know, modern history, you have the, you know, doing textiles and design, doing visual arts and things like that, kind of every single year. Whereas at university, things are offered in odd and even years. So, you know, some of the units that I'm doing in trimester 2 and did in trimester 1 of this year weren't offered last year, but were offered in my 1st year. So it's kind of hard, because if there's a unit you really, really want to do, but you're finishing a degree, you may not be able to do it because you didn't have the time, or you weren't able to do it in your 1st year. So that's what's really, really annoying, is that, you know, the way it works around. Because obviously, you know, in high school, you know, you can do your, you know, textiles and design and do your visual arts and do this. And, you know, if you were to, say, for instance, fail, you could always just do it again the next year. Whereas it's harder in university. You know, if you fail a unit that you've done, then you either have to wait till trimester 3 to see if it's offered then, or you might have to wait a whole year before you can do it again, which is something that not many people like to do. I definitely don't want to do it, so let's hope I pass. Keep my fingers crossed. I'm keeping them crossed. I hope I'll pass. Another big thing is colleges. Now, I know a lot of Australians are going to understand what I'm saying. It's probably going to be a bit harder for anyone who doesn't live in Australia, because I know like in America, like colleges means one thing and university means another thing. But obviously over here, colleges is a little different. So from what I've seen, I've mostly only seen them in American films. So I'm just going to have to go off a few American film references here. But in a lot of American films, you know, I've noticed that when you go to a college, you share your room with someone. Well, at college that I'm at, and a few of the colleges, you know, near my college, you have your own room, which is good because it allows you to kind of, you know, personalize it how you want. You kind of feel like it's your own space. You're not going to be crowded by someone else. Because where I live, there's 8 colleges, so various different things. We're pretty much all the same. We just all do various different things every now and then. I would definitely, you consider to anyone to definitely maybe try out a college. it's something different. It's a great way to really make new friends. You know, I came from a very small town, moved to, you know, basically 2 hours away from home. You know, I was probably pretty lucky to be able to move 2 hours away from home. Whereas, you know, I'm currently in a college with some people who've moved from Sydney, or who have moved from Newcastle, or have moved from Victoria. You know, there's quite a lot of people at the ACT. Like, you know, it's really great to be able to meet a various amount of different people and the backgrounds that they come from, but also to be able to see what they're studying and what their interests are and see how similar they are to yours. So that's a good thing about college. You know, you get to meet people from all walks of life, which is fantastic, and it's great because, you know, some of the people you meet at college will be your lifelong friends for quite a while. I'm hoping my friend Claudia is. I'm hoping she'll be one of my lifelong friends, because I swear to God we do everything together nearly. She's probably sick of me by now. So another thing about college is it's a great thing to have because you can balance your academic side with your social life. Obviously, college is very, very social. It's dependent upon a lot of people around you and how you're social with them. And having that social life is great, because it kind of means that if you're stuck doing something, you know, at least you know that there's going to be people who can support you. But also having that social life means, you know, you can step away from the stresses of, you know, an assignment for one night and maybe go out and have, you know, a few drinks or something with some friends, or have a movie night. I've had a few movie nights this year when I've been like, no, I can't do an assessment. That's, just rewind a little bit for a minute, getting back to the whole differences in high school and university. Assessment wise, probably one of the biggest things is the assessments and how they change from high school to university. So in high school, your teacher will give you a question. Often, you know, it will give you a question for whatever subject you're doing. Then you compile your essay around it, and often they're like, oh, it needs to be between 1 to 2 pages. Whereas in university, your teacher or lecturer may give you like 3 questions, and you have to then pick one, and then you have to compile a 2,500 word essay around it, or a 1,500 word essay, or how many word count it is. But then, you know, you have to make sure you stick closely to the question and answer the question. But you've also got to make sure, and here's the biggest thing that people need to be careful of, is referencing. You know, back in high school you could just put bibliography, you know, you could put this, you could put that. In university you kind of have to structure it a certain way. There's so many different like referencing systems out there. Like there's Chicago, MLA, Harvard, AGP, SAPA. I think Harvard's like one of them. I'm not quite sure. I don't really use that one. And you have to make sure that you've, you know, correctly referenced it, otherwise your work is plagiarized, which is not a fun thing to have happen, and it's not a fun thing to be accused of as well. If you're accused of plagiarism, it's probably not the best thing, and it's probably something you don't really want, because it means you can lose your degree over it, which is not good, especially if you've, you know, you're in your final year and you're like, oh, you just want to get your last assessment done and you're so stressed out and everything, and you know, you've got this coming up and you've got this coming up and you've got, you know, you've got to bring your parents and you've got to pay rent, you've got to do this and you've got to do that, and then you've got, you know, a million things you need to do, and you suddenly decide to accidentally forget or don't plagiarize properly. Don't plagiarize, whatever you do. I meant to say when you don't reference properly, but I got confused and said don't plagiarize when you plagiarize. Don't plagiarize. It is, just don't do it. Just don't. Make sure you always reference. Get help if you can't reference. That is probably one of the greatest bits of advice I can give anyone, is do not plagiarize, get reference. I still get reference. Oh my god. I've had a lot of trouble talking today. My sentences are not coming out correctly. It's probably because I'm tired. I've had a very long week, and I apologize if some of the things I say don't come out. But do bear with me. If you've bared with me for this long, you can bear with me a bit more longer. Okay, definitely get help. Good thing about the college that I go to, I don't know about any American colleges. If there's any American college students watching this, definitely comment on your experiences of college, because it would be really interesting to find out. And I'll even do like a chat, one of my chat shows about the differences between an American college and Australian college, because it'd be great to find out if there's any American college students out there who live on campus or live in, a dormitory or anything. Comment your experiences, or Facebook me, or social media me with like the hashtag chats with Carissa. It's my hashtag now. Make sure you write that down, hashtag chats with Carissa, and tell me your story, because I'd be really interested to hear it. So rewinding again, getting back to what I was saying about getting help. So at my college, we actually have position holders. So we have our RFs, who are basically our brother and sisters of our floor. We have our academic mentors. Now, they're the people you need to go see when you're doing your referencing. They're the people who can help you with your referencing, your essay structure, every single thing there is to know about writing an essay or exams for university. Interesting fact, I've done university for the last 3 years, and I had my first ever university exam 2 weeks ago. Ever. My first ever university exam 2 weeks ago for my degree. It was very different. It was very, very different. Obviously, universities take their exams a lot more serious than high school. So, I think that's probably everything about living at a college. I was trying to think. There's a lot of things. Oh, college meals. Obviously, the college I'm at, you get supplied meals. Very different to home cooked dinners. But it's good that you can get them supplied to you, because it just means that you don't have to spend money. Now, on a final note, I'm going to be talking about some of the struggles that university students face, and this is what I've experienced for the last 3 years. So the first one is obviously fees, student fees and things like that. You're going to get a lot of student fees for various things. Some might be for, your actual university degree. Some will be fees you need to pay for, like, within a college. So I know for our college, like, we had to pay a certain amount to be able to go to events later on in the year for a cheaper price. So that's fees you pay. Other fees might be, small things like, to go towards like the student welfare club or something like that. Like, you pay fees. So probably one of the biggest things I can tell to anyone who's planning on going to university, definitely save your money. It's probably the best thing you should do. It's probably one of the biggest things that I didn't do correctly, was save my money. Rent is definitely one of them. I have to pay fortnightly rent, and it's not fun, especially because I work, and basically the money I get from work basically goes to rent, and it's hard because then I have to pay money to go towards other things like my car and my gym membership and food and various other things. So money is definitely the biggest factor when you're living at a college, and when you're going to university is probably one of the biggest things you need to take into consideration. So make sure you save your money. Especially because of textbooks. Textbooks are very expensive at university. And it's a lot harder because, back in high school, you'd have a big supply of textbooks in high school, and you could borrow them out for an entire year. But sometimes in universities, you can only kind of hire out the book for like a few weeks, and then you've got to return it. And yes, you can keep borrowing it, but I think after like 3 borrows, you can't borrow the book after that. So you can't borrow a textbook out for a whole year, which kind of sucks, because then you're like, I can't need it for the whole trimester, but I can't borrow it for the whole trimester. So it's kind of a bit bad when that happens. So save your money on textbooks. Also save your money when it comes to food as well, because food can be quite expensive. So definitely just buy the essentials. That's probably my biggest problem, and a lot of people will realise that my biggest problem's food. I go to the supermarket quite a bit, and it's not a great thing to do, probably because I overindulge in some foods, which is not good. Another struggle that university students are faced with is how many assessments are due in one kind of week. I had an assessment due on a Sunday, an assessment due that Monday, and then my exam was on a Tuesday. So definitely make sure you work well with time management, because that's going to be a big factor in your university degree, and it's also going to be a big factor in your whole year while you're at university. Just trying to think of any other struggles. Not getting enough sleep. There will come days when you will have to stay up and do all-nighters for assessments. I'm so tired. I've probably missed so much sleep in the last 3 years. I'm not sleeping. I can't think of any other struggles at the moment. It'll probably come to me a bit later, and I'll comment if there's any other struggles that I think we go through, but money's definitely one of them. So definitely save your money. That concludes my video for this evening. Fun fact for you, well actually one fun fact. I can do a southerner accent, and I'll show you. Hello, my name's, that's not it, that was something else. Oh, it's hard to get into character when you're doing a southerner accent. We've been talking about university this whole time, and now it's about time I do something funny. Oh, if anyone has any song requests for my videos, like my opening song, do comment below in the comments box below any song requests anyone has. So if there's a song you would really like me to be silly and dance to, then comment, because I'm more than happy to do that. Especially if you've watched any Tuesday Night Live videos, which I'm still in the process of putting online. I've been busy the last few days. I slept most of yesterday. Well, actually, no, I didn't sleep most of yesterday because I had to work. I slept most of today because I've had a busy week, so I haven't had time to upload them to YouTube, but they will be on YouTube hopefully by the end of next week, because I'm going away for 4 days next week, so hopefully I will have my videos done and uploaded before then. So you might get a bit of a rush, but because I'm going away, I will have to get them done early. After that, there will be a normal schedule of them posted every second day, which will be great. But yeah, if you have any song requests, send them my way. And I know this is going to be interesting, because I know I'm going to get bombarded by university friends who've already commented on some of one of my videos from, what day is it today? Saturday, isn't it? From Thursday? Did I do one Thursday? I think I did one Thursday. I think, yeah, when I did Thursday, I had university students bombard me with comments that were so weird. But I knew them, so they were just being silly. They'll probably bombard me with a million requests for songs. But yeah, you know, if you have any requests for songs you'd like me to be silly and dance to, by all means, send them my way. As I said, you know, subscribe to my channel, share my video, show people, and I might even try my southerner accent next video. Just be like, hi, my name's Bethany, and I'm from Georgia. How y'all doing tonight? That's kind of a bit of it. It's a bit hard to get into character sometimes. As someone, I can do a British accent, but that one's a bit harder. I have to be like a cup of tea there, love. Would you like a cup of tea? I'd make a fancy cup of tea with some English grey or English grey. I got that confused then. Some Earl Grey tea and a few bickies. I'm more than happy to make you a cup of tea. Actually, I do need to do a show one day where I have a cup of tea. I'm going to start thinking of some fun games to do. If anyone has any fun games they want me to do, I might do a never have I ever. So send in like a question, like if it's like never have I ever been drunk before noon or something. Even if you have to look up like ones that have already been done on other talk shows, like questions like that. Also, you probably just heard a door. That's because we're currently on holiday, so there's a few people still left at college, but not many. And it was funny because in my last video, my friend knocked on my door probably about 2 minutes before I actually finished my video, and I was a bit like, I don't know who's knocking at my door, but I'm looking after her plants this week. Something interesting. Something fun that she wants me to do. They're currently still alive, which I'm quite surprised about, because I did have some flowers on my table for quite some time and they died. I'm not very good when it comes to like keeping plants alive, so just don't leave me with your plants. But yeah, if you have any song requests, do post them in the comments below, because I would be excited to hear what everyone has to say. And for anyone who knows me who's watching, I'm wearing my famous blue beanie. I'm hoping that my blue beanie will make an appearance in nearly all my videos. It didn't make an appearance last week, only because I couldn't find it. I found it in my cupboard. But this quick story, this blue beanie is one that my sister bought me. Both my sisters bought me when they first went overseas, and which was about 10 years ago or something, like close to that. About 10 years ago, I think, maybe even a bit longer. They bought me this beanie and I wear it every single winter, and everyone knows me. Everyone knows when I'm coming out of college, because if you can't, like, you know, sometimes when you look in the distance and you see someone you know and you think, is that them? People know it's me just by my beanie. Like last year we had not our local news company, but we had Sunrise come to the university because they're talking about tour de cure. And my dad was, and I messaged my dad and I was ringing, I was like, Dad, I'm going to be on TV. I'm up the front of like, behind, you know, the sports person, which is Mark Beretta. Couldn't think then. I was like, he's not the weather person. Behind the sports person. Dad's like, how will I find you? I'm like, I'm wearing my blue beanie. And I posted it on Facebook, and all my cousins were like, I can see you in your blue beanie. So my blue beanie, this is my blue beanie. It's one of my like most, well, not my most prized possession, but one of my most important things that I own. I love it. It's blue. My sister's gonna give me a pink one, so I'm so excited. But I don't know how I'm gonna feel, because I'll be like, I don't want to wear the pink one all the time, because then I feel like I'm gonna be neglecting the blue one. So that concludes my video. I hope you've had fun listening. I hope you've learned something about university. If you have any questions about university, comment, send me a message, find me on Instagram, because I often post things about what I'm doing at university, often, you know, events that I'm going to within the university, things that I'm studying. I will put in the link, I will put in the description, sorry, below any of my social media things that you can follow me on, which can keep up to date with everything that I'm doing, which is exciting. Still in the process of getting all my Snapchat videos together. That's the worst thing. Editing is the worst thing, because you have so much stuff you need to do, and I need to have a quick drink of water because I'm very dehydrated. Because I've been talking for such a long time. Anyway, I hope everyone has a good weekend. I know I will. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. Probably going to sleep in again and eat till I'm sick. So have fun, everyone. And I hope to see you all in 2 days. See ya!